Welcome to episode 17 of Pera's Playbook. Today we're joined by Abby Smith. Abby, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Before we dive into your story, your career, everything, I'm going to give a quick update to everyone because I really haven't said anything on a podcast about the merge. I put out a quick post, but for everyone who used to follow the Twig Snapper podcast, it's now merged with Pera's Playbook. So all the hockey episodes will be on Pera's Playbook. I'll leave the Twig Snapper page up. All those episodes will be up. People can go back and still listen to them if they want, but all future content will be under Pera's Playbook. So now that that is out there and explained for everyone, when we dive in and start talking about you and your hockey career, and I feel like a good place to start is recruiting because that's kind of where things take off. So what was your experience like? Everyone's got a different experience. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, some are stressful. Some people just breeze right through recruiting. What was it like for you?
Mine was definitely a nightmare. It was super chaotic, and I definitely made a lot of mistakes. The main one I made was I spread myself too thin. I was recruiting for three sports originally, soccer, hockey, and lacrosse, because I knew I wanted to go D3 and play two in college, but I hadn't figured out which two, which I probably should have before. But eventually I narrowed it down to hockey and lacrosse, and I would get a coach at one school to really like me for lacrosse, but they wouldn't like me for hockey. And then the other school would like me for hockey and not for lacrosse. And I think I spread myself way too thin. I should have just gone all in for one sport and then walked on, which is what I ended up doing. Hamilton found me pretty late in the process. The lacrosse coach saw my film, and then we kind of developed a relationship from there, and eventually offered me a commitment. And the hockey coach I was contacting as well, and I was like, hey, I'm coming for lacrosse, can I play hockey too? And they were like, yep, well, you got to try out though. So I tried out and made it, and so now I play two sports at Hamilton. A really messy process but I got where I wanted to go. So in
Yeah,
the end,
you were determined. You wanted to play two sports.
I really did. That's been my goal for a really long time. I couldn't choose. I couldn't. It was hard to let soccer go, but that was definitely the right decision. I love both hockey and lacrosse because they're so different.
Yeah, I feel like that's more of a combination you see with dual sport athletes. Is I have never seen soccer and hockey like a dual sport, and I'm sure there's someone out there, people out there that do it, but I haven't seen it. It's not as common. Like you see a lot of sports like combo together. People play football, they run track, or like different sports, or maybe they do football and baseball, or hockey and lacrosse, or hockey
Yeah,
and golf, or like there's like different sports that combine, and then there's other ones that you just never see. And I feel like that's kind of like that's one that I'd never even thought of. Like I don't know, there's like similarities between hockey and lacrosse, so I think that's probably why a lot of people do both because there are like some similarities. Obviously, there are a lot of differences too, but
yeah. That's true. That it's definitely more common. I see a lot of hockey, field hockey, which I feel like
yep,
that's pretty obvious. But
yeah,
there's definitely in the NESCAC a lot of hockey, lacrosse players.
yeah.
Um, so there's a good amount of us out there.
It's one of the benefits of going D3. I mean, some people like kind of look down on D3 athletics because it's the third division and it's not as competitive. But if you really dive into it and you look at it, there's plenty of people in Division 3 that could play at higher divisions if they wanted to. They choose to play at D3, and you can have different opportunities like this. I mean, there are obviously dual sport Division 1 athletes, but it's more rare than it is at D3. It's much more common at D3, and that's a great opportunity for people to have.
Yeah, I can't really speak a lot for D1 because I didn't look there at all. I really wanted to go D3 and play two sports, so that's really where I focused. But I just knew that D3 was right for me, especially the NESCAC. I really liked the academics they offered and the freedom they offered as liberal arts. I can take any classes I want, and I've definitely taken a really wide range, and I really enjoyed that. And I just liked the at the energy around athletics in the NESCAC, even though it's not a big school and we're not selling out stadiums, like people still are really passionate about it and it's really competitive. And the school is definitely a fan of athletics. I found that most of the games I go to, there's a pretty solid showing of the student body, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to have crazy stadiums full of 50,000 fans to make it exciting and fun. I mean, as long as the fans are passionate, really doesn't matter how many of them there are. I mean, obviously you want a good number, but I'm talking like obviously a D3 barn compared to a D1 barn. If they're both full, that D3 barn is still going to be wild. And honestly, sometimes a smaller barn that's packed is more exciting because it doesn't take as much to get it just roaring.
Yeah, a giant place packed would definitely be cool, but
Yeah.
I love our rink a lot, and it's really fun
Yeah.
when it's packed because it does feel like everyone's right on top of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. They're completely different. They're both obviously, like you said, playing in a big barn would be fun, but there's also something to be said about that small barn. It's a different experience too. Um, so what about your first college goal? I mean, usually everyone kind of remembers it for one reason or another, whether it's an exciting goal or it's like, geez, it was my first, but it was kind of a boring goal. But like usually everyone remembers their first goal.
Yeah, I definitely remember my first goal. So like I said, I was technically a walk-on to the hockey team, so I tried out, was super nervous. I made it, was really happy, but getting on the team is only one part of it. You got to earn playing time, you got to earn a spot on the bench. And my team is really competitive, and all my teammates are really, really good. So it was really hard to do that. So the first game comes around and the lineup comes out, and I was dressing and I couldn't believe it. I was literally the last winger. Like, if there's four lines, I was the fourth winger, like dead last on the depth chart. But I didn't care. I was so pumped to play in my first college game. And they started rolling four lines, and in the middle of the game, one of my teammates shot it and I tipped it and it went in, and I scored my first goal in my first game, and I like literally couldn't believe it because I barely made it there, which was really funny. But it was an awesome goal. It was from one of my best friends shot it, and then I redirected it. It was against Amherst, I think. So super, super memorable for sure. And that gave me, I think, the confidence boost I needed to keep going throughout the season. But yeah, it was a really
Yeah.
special first goal.
Yeah. And you had a pretty good first season. I mean, especially for being a walk on, but for any freshman, you had a pretty good first season. And then you improved upon that this past season in every category. You played more games, you had more goals, more assists, more points, more shots, just across the board. You saw a significant step up. Do you feel like that was just like the way the team worked? You got more playing time, so everything else fell into place, or do you feel like you really grinded in the off season and that work paid off, or a combination of all of the above?
I think it was definitely all of the above. Our team was really young, so obviously we got more experienced. It was my second year. I felt a little bit more confident in what I was doing. I felt like I knew what I was going to expect in an NESCAC game. So my freshman year, I think I didn't realize how fast the play is and how talented all the teams are. So I was a little bit more prepared for it this year. But also, I just had like amazing teammates. I love all of them, and they're all so talented, from our first line to the people that don't dress. All of them could play at any moment. They're so good. So when you're playing on the ice with five other people that are playing at a really high level, it's definitely easy to get more shots, more goals, more assists, whatever, because they help me out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very humble answer. Um, Same thing with your team. You said, well, you mentioned that you guys had a really young team. But you guys had a big turnaround. You were 12-10 your first year, and then you were 22-6-2, and you made it to the NCAA semifinals this past season. So obviously that's everyone's goal. It's postseason. Everyone wants to make it as far as they can in the postseason. That's the end goal. So talk a little bit about that, experience going through your own conference playoffs and then into the NCAAs, where obviously you're playing the best teams in the country and there's more of a spotlight and the hockey's faster. It's playoff hockey.
Yeah, that was such an incredible experience. That was so fun. From playoffs all the way to when we lost, I had a blast the entire time. But that was definitely something our team, I don't want to say didn't expect, because we knew we were a really good team, but it was hard to, we lost in the semifinals of the NESCACs last year, to expect us to go all the way to the NCAA semifinals. So I think we kind of just took every step like we were the underdogs, and that definitely helped us get through all those games. But we started off NESCACs. We played Williams at home, which we've played Williams the past 3 years at home. So there's definitely a little bit of a rivalry there with the NESCACs. Sorry, that's my dog.
No worries.
He's really excited, I guess. And we barely beat them. We scored with like 2 minutes or a minute left. It was a really awesome game. The whole school was there. My whole lacrosse team was there, like on the glass. They were definitely our biggest fans. So we won, and then we went and played Colby in the semifinals, and we beat them there. We had one of our captains had an awesome game. I think she got a hat trick. I don't remember, but she was definitely a force out there. And then we went to the finals, where we did not play well. We lost to Amherst pretty significantly, not our best, but we still had a really fun time making it that far. And we were pretty confident we were going to make it to the NCAA at that point. We watched the selection show as a team in our locker room, which was really, really fun. And we were pumped when we saw we made it. And we got a home game, which we played against Nazareth. It was our second time playing them that year, so we definitely kind of knew what to expect. They're a good team, but we felt confident. And it was at home, so once again, it was packed. Everyone was there. It was super fun, loud environment. Probably one of my most memorable games, and we beat them. And then we found out we were going to Michigan to play Adrian, which was super fun. Definitely a big road trip. We all thought we were flying, but we were wrong. We took the bus. So a lot of team bonding on the bus, but it was a good time. We were all just really excited to go there. We got there, we got to practice and like look at the school. So it was like a mini vacation, a little bit. And then we played Adrian, and that was probably one of the most interesting games I've ever played, because the way they play is just so different from the NESCAC. So it's kind of like two teams with two completely different styles going at it. They played a lot more fancy, like skilled. They were making some crazy plays. It was cool. But we were definitely a bit faster, kind of more depth, and we barely beat them. It was 1-0, and then we got an empty netter, so 2-0. And then that takes us to the semifinals, where we lost to Amherst, unfortunately, again. They were a really good team. They had an amazing goalie. She was I think she was an All-American. She was legit. So yeah, that was our journey. It was super fun. I'm so happy I made it to the NCAAs. That was a huge goal of mine going into college. So I'm really proud to have accomplished that.
Yeah, that's an incredible season, and not many teams can say they make it. You know, you only have the handful that make it every year. So being able to make it, especially in your second year, you know, now you guys have a chance to make it a couple more times, you know, depending how things unfold. And I'm sure you guys have some motivation for next season to try and get back and go further, or you know, just get back. So definitely an exciting season. So let's talk about lacrosse for a little bit, since you said that's, I mean, the sport that you were actually recruited for, and then you ended up walking onto the hockey team. Now you seem to be, you know, having a lot of success in hockey. So is that kind of taken over? Do you focus more on hockey than lacrosse? Do you try to focus equally on both?
I really try to give my time equally, because I love both sports. I love both teams. But it's definitely hard when hockey just comes first, kind of chronologically. There's nothing I can change about that. So I do all of hockey preseason. I do all the season. We went late this year. We played all the way to March, so I missed like the first 4 games of lacrosse. And it's definitely hard missing all of preseason and the first few games, because I just love my team and I'd want to be there, and it's super fun. And it was definitely hard this year to come into the season so late. when things were established. I had to learn the plays and the systems pretty quickly, but I would definitely want to play another sport. It's just so fun to go to a brand new group of people. I didn't really feel, a lot of people asked if I felt burnt out, but I think that lacrosse and hockey are so different that it was kind of just like something new to start with. So it was definitely interesting. But yeah, I love the lacrosse team, and I do feel bad missing a lot, but there are women's hockey's biggest supporters. Like I said, they're always on the front of the glass, like banging and chirping. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. So what about being a dual sport, trying to focus on school and, it's got to be tough. I mean, you said you have a lot of freedom with what classes you can take. So that's got to help. You can try to build your schedule in a way that you can be successful, but you're still playing two sports and being a student at the same time. I mean, it's hard. College is hard enough without being an athlete. You throw two sports in there and makes it even harder.
Yeah, you definitely got to master time management. And I think I had pretty good practice with that in high school. I went to a boarding school, so no parent supervision. I could do whatever I wanted with my time. And I definitely had to learn how to do homework and go to practice and be successful on that. So I feel like I got a little bit of a head start on that when I showed up to college. And
Yeah.
weirdly enough, I found that I've had more free time in college in high school. Like you said, I can pick and choose my classes. That's definitely helped me a lot.
And the way that college schedules are, I mean, you don't have to get up and go from 8 to 3 nonstop, and then you've got practice for whatever sport. Like you've got breaks in your day, and the way you don't have the same classes every single day. Some classes are 2 a week, 3 a week, whatever. I feel like all of that kind of helps too. And how you build your schedule, that time management, you can actually end up with a lot of free time if you know how to do it. If you don't, you can just be
Yes.
super stressed and it's all horrible. But if you know how to manage your schedule, it can be all right. And you're also like a world traveler, traveling. You had a big trip this summer. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? It's always exciting, obviously, to go on any trip, but when you go overseas, it's even more thrilling.
Yeah, this summer I went to Israel to play lacrosse there, to play with US or Israel lacrosse, excuse me. It was super fun. I got to travel all over the country, immerse myself in the culture, hang out with Israelis that are my age. And then we played some lacrosse games, which was awesome. Now I can say I've played lacrosse in a different continent, which is
Yeah.
a cool fact. We played one game kind of mixed with the Israeli team. So the American girls and them dispersed throughout the teams. And then we played a second game against them. And both of them were super fun. They play lacrosse in a very different style. And they use Hebrew words to kind of communicate on the field, which we learned. And it was just a really awesome experience. And I think it was the best trip I've ever been on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can imagine. I mean, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So how did you end up getting, how did that come about, going over there to play lacrosse? How did that all unfold?
We our family has a friend who works in Israel lacrosse, and so we've just kind of been aware of the program. And I know that's something I wanted to do for a long time, was go to Israel, and why not play lacrosse while I'm there? Kind of just combine all the things I want to do in one. I went with my sister, which was really awesome, and my cousin, and I got to watch him play too. So it was a really great experience.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really neat life experience that you probably never forget. Um, I was gonna ask you about like sports teams that you enjoy, but I have a guess that you're a Boston fan based on I just saw on your Instagram you posted about Krejci retiring. So I'm guessing you're a big Bruins fan.
Yeah, we're big Boston team through
Boston
and through. I know,
everything.
yeah, unpopular, I know, but I like all the Boston teams. I do like some of the California teams though. My dad's from California, so I really like the Warriors. But for hockey, definitely just the Bruins. And I don't want to talk
Go
about it.
Ducks.
I know.
Yeah, the
They,
Bruins are it's gonna be a hard year, I think, from the high that Bruins fans were at last season. to the low they could be at this season. Nobody knows what to expect. I mean, there's obviously still a lot of really good players on the team, but you're also losing a lot of really good players. So like, how is that going to just affect the team chemistry? Who knows?
Who knows? It hurts my soul. I feel like they were part of my childhood. So do they just make me feel old when they retire? But they'll I think that they're still gonna do a good job. I feel like the Bruins always they find
Bruins
a
fans
way
are
to win.
saying that. I don't know anyone else that's saying that. Most non-Bruins fans are like they're lucky if there'll be a wild card team. Bruins
I
fans are
gotta
like,
have faith.
no, we're yeah. Well, you got to do what you can to keep your spirits up. I mean, just be happy you have something to cheer about. I mean, like I said, I'm a Ducks fan. There's been nothing to
Oh,
cheer about being a Ducks fan for like the past 5 years. We've been one of the worst teams in the league. It's depressing.
yeah, that's a
I
tough
say we like I'm on the team too, but but I
yeah.
remember being in middle school and when they were good. They made the playoffs every year and they get beat by Nashville, but it was still fun. They were in the playoffs and now they just suck. So at least be happy that you had success and you've had
That's true.
success.
Our team is very split between Bruins and Rangers, so I've been getting a lot of texts from friends kind of rubbing it in my face. But
Yeah.
I'm a believer. I have faith in them.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think everyone else in the league is happy except for Bruins fans. Like, I think Boston's one of those teams that Boston fans like him, everyone else hates him. I mean, there's some teams people are like indifferent towards. I don't think Boston's one of those teams.
No, I don't think so either.
I do have to say I am a Celtics fan, so I can
All
agree
right,
on
all
that.
right.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're good to watch. I like
Yeah.
them.
Do you so are you a Patriots fan too then?
Yeah, unfortunately. I think out of all the professional sports, I follow football the least, but I am a Patriots fan,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
It is unfortunate now. It wasn't when Tom Brady was there. It was great.
Oh, it was awesome. I was the biggest Patriots fan ever when he was there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that is, how your team goes from being on top of the world for so long to just not at all.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's just it's the way it works. It's the way of the industry. There's not many teams that can just be good forever. It wouldn't be fun if they were either. People would get sick of it and they'd
No, I feel grateful. I've been to a lot of good sports parades in Boston. From
Boston's had a
Bruins,
lot of
Red Sox, they've all done it. So I do feel lucky.
Boston's been a very successful city the past like 20 years. There's been a lot of championships won there. So I guess there's some. I'm not a fan of like any of the Michigan sports team, but obviously growing up in Michigan, everyone is, and they have nothing to root for. I mean, like the Red Wings were good, but they're not anymore. The Pistons suck. The Lions suck. The Tigers suck. There's just like no hope for Michigan sports fans.
Tough life. Tough
It
life.
is.
And I
It
guess.
is. Yeah, from that to like 40 and below and 300 inches of snow. I mean, what is there to be happy
Yeah.
about in Michigan? So, what's your favorite kind of music?
Oh, I have a wide variety of music. I really like everything. I like pop, rap, country. Country as of recent though. I was a country hater, but I've been changed.
Were
Yeah.
you brought over by like Morgan Wallen and his kind of like half
Yeah.
pop, half country vibe?
Unfortunately, all my friends at school love him, so it's kind of forced to listen to him. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it did catch on, and now I kind of like it. Yeah.
So you said you had like a super long bus ride. Any bus karaoke happen? Is that a thing your team does, or do you guys not do that?
Um, Not always. We just play a lot of games. We'll play like Mafia. We'll play different like games on our phone, like Psych or Photo Roulette, just fun stuff, or list games. We just make all this stuff up. We get a lot of time, so we get creative.
You don't make the freshmen sing some embarrassing song for karaoke?
I've seen that, and I've had friends who did that in high school. So honestly, maybe we should bring that back. I
Yeah.
think
I
not
mean,
bring it back. Start it. I'll
right.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always fun, like bus karaoke. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I would be horrified to do that because I'm a horrible singer, but I can make the freshmen do it.
See,
That's
but
fine.
that's what makes it fun for everyone else. Most people who are singing, you either pick like a song that's way out of your range, but then everyone else gets it on video, and you become the meme for the team.
That's a good point. All right, I'll remember that one for our next away game.
For the freshmen, though, like you said, for
Yeah,
the freshmen,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
What about favorite movie or TV show? I know some people don't watch movies and some people don't watch TV shows.
I don't know. I don't know what my favorite movie would be. Probably like Lilo and Stitch, but my
Really?
favorite, yeah, I love that movie when I was little, and I still do. Great soundtrack.
It
And my
is.
favorite TV show is definitely Criminal Minds.
Ah, you're into like crime, like thriller type, like mystery, I don't know, drama. It's kind of all.
Yeah, I haven't watched all the crime shows because I just started watching Criminal Minds and then I loved it and then I was like none will ever be as good, so I haven't watched them really, which I know is not very open-minded of me, but I just love Criminal Minds. It's a very easy
Yeah.
watch. I'm bored. I can just choose any episode from any season.
I've never been into like crime shows. I don't know. I don't like thinking about all these horrible crimes that could happen. I know it's
Yeah.
fake, but that these things have actually happened. They had to have gotten the inspiration from somewhere.
Yeah, that makes me sound a little crazy, but I do like watching it.
You're not crazy. There's a lot of people who love like true crime documentaries and like all of that stuff. That's huge. Like true crime podcasts. People watch Dateline or whatever. I don't know. I don't like any of that stuff.
Yeah, I haven't watched that or I haven't listened to many podcasts, but maybe if I have another really long bus ride, I should try that.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe you'd like it. Maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. I have no idea because I don't watch that stuff. I like living in a happy, fluffy world with comedies, and I want to laugh and smile. I don't want to, you know.
It's fair point.
Yeah. So why don't we wrap up on a goal for next year? I don't know if you have a goal for each sport, since you said you're pretty devoted to each sport, or something you want to accomplish personally or team wise for each sport, or just one sport, whatever.
Yeah, I can have a goal for each sport. Let's see. For lacrosse, it would be to go farther in playoffs because I think we just had a really off year this year. We had a really young team, really talented. We just could not put the pieces together at all. But I think we can do it this year now that we have a little more experience and maybe last year's kind of a wake up call. So be more focused this year. And then for hockey, it would just be to keep playing like the Hamilton standard of hockey. I feel like we have a really distinct way of playing. Other teams, when they play us, they know what they're getting. I would just say to continue playing that way. We graduated a lot of people, some really awesome seniors. And without them, the team definitely feels smaller and like it has less leadership. But I know that we can still continue to play that way and create new leadership and create new standards of Hamilton hockey. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to do.
Yeah, you got to keep your team culture and kind of the ways of the team. I love it. Awesome stuff. Well, Abby, thanks for coming on this episode of the podcast. Good luck with both of your seasons next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was a good time.